Right now on Denver 7 News at 6 a.m., a day Colorado will never forget.
I was just amazed that this could happen in Boulder.
It felt like if this can happen in Boulder, this can happen anywhere.
1 year ago today, 10 Coloradans had their lives cut short at a Boulder King Soopers.
My mom actually was in the store, and she's 86, and she heard the gun.
A year later, the memory remains fresh in our minds as the healing continues.
From the Boulder Police Department to community members, and everyone processes and handles things differently.
All this morning, we're honoring the lives senselessly taken as we remain Boulder strong.
It's important to mourn. It's important to remember. And when you're ready, it's important to think about what we could be doing better.
Looking ahead and looking back today, we know there are several events happening for the community to reflect and remember. Thank you for joining us. I'm Nicole Brady.
And I'm Brian Sanders. Yeah, we know it will be a tough day for a lot of people, but there are also a lot of opportunities for the community to come together. So we have special coverage coming up in just a few minutes. We do want to get you ready for the day ahead. Meteorologist Lisa Hidalgo is here with a kind of an up and down forecast today.
Yeah, a little of everything. This morning we are looking at some drier conditions, some sunshine early on. Yesterday, snow moving east and into the middle of the country with some pretty good snow showers in through Nebraska and Kansas this morning. We're looking at drier conditions this morning for the commute, and at your bus stop planner will be likely in the mid to upper 20s here early on as your kids are getting ready for school. It's jacket weather this morning, a light mix possible this afternoon. By the time they're getting home, we could see some wet conditions. Very little accumulation expected today, but it is going to be a little messy and definitely windy, especially east of I-25. Right now, looking at highs that are going to be in the low to mid 40s here in town, 20s with about 1 to 3 inches of snow expected here in the northern and central mountains. And you can see on Futurecast by 3 o'clock some of that wet weather and those windy conditions. Coming up, we'll take a look at the timing a bit more on this and then how it's all going to clear out and warm up by the end of the week.
Yeah, I had a report of a couple of truckers saying that it's really windy out there to the eastern plains, blowing them around a bit. This is I-70 out there right now east of Lyman. You can still see some slick conditions. I-70 is open. It's also open in Kansas, even though it's really treacherous conditions out there. You can see the winds affecting the camera right now. Take a look at the drive from Air Tracker 7 across downtown. Here's Colfax at I-25. This is the northbound side of 25. Headlights of the southbounders. There's Meow Wolf and there's Mile High. So you can see them there. But a good drive for us coming in from Lakewood, going across downtown. Dry roads anywhere you want to go, and you can see that here on the map as well. Just a lot of green out there. We do have a closure on 287 because of some railroad work. I'll have full details on that and how to get around it coming up in just a few minutes. The drive to or from the airport looks good, and the rest of the commute wide open for you, but anywhere else you want to go.
It's a difficult day in Colorado, marking 1 year since the lives of 10 people, our neighbors and friends, were cut short by a gunman at the King Soopers in Boulder. And
we want to take a moment this morning to read their names. They are Denny Stong, Nevin Stanisic, Ricky Olds, Traylana Barkowiak, Suzanne Fountain, Terry Liker, Officer Eric Talley, Kevin Mahoney, Lynn Murray, and Jody Waters. And each of them were valued members of our community. They were mothers, fathers, business owners, and dear friends. And the redesigned Table Mesa King Soopers store is closed today to honor their lives.
We have our team in Boulder this morning. Christian Lopez has a look at the Resource Center still providing resources to people a year after this tragedy. We want to start with Colette Bordelon outside Boulder Police Headquarters. And Colette, Officer Eric Talley, one of those killed, continues to be honored for his bravery.
That's right, and as you guys know, Officer Eric Talley, he was the first one on the scene. He didn't hesitate that day, rushing into the store and saving lives, but his mark not left in the way he died, but in the way that he lived. I remember standing out here a year ago as this cruiser was parked out front and people were leaving mementos and signs of Officer Eric Talley on it. I watched as people walked outside of the building and set things like a Mountain Dew, a can of a soda, something clearly personal to Officer Talley. And those little personal touches really start to show the little things that made the man behind the badge. And at his funeral service, it was said Officer Talley didn't have his life taken, he gave it for his community. He was 51 at the time, a father to 7 children, and had been with the force for just over a decade. During his memorial, a poem and prayer written by his children on Christmas of 2019 was read. In it, they call Officer Talley their unsung hero. We spoke with a supervisor who told Officer Talley's family what had happened that day He says when he did, Officer Talley's kids actually jumped into action, giving him some comfort in their darkest hour, a reflection of the father they had.
I think he didn't sit down very well and didn't enjoy being bored. So he had a very big thirst for life in general and for helping people. He genuinely, deep down, cared about the community and the people that he was dealing with, and that was absolutely reflected in his quality and level of police work.
The public's invited to come by anytime if they want to take a moment to remember fallen officer Eric Talley and just pay their respects. We greatly appreciate it.
This car will be out here until tonight. Anything left on it will either be given to Officer Talley's family or kept here at the police department. Now, shortly after his death, his father did release a statement saying his son was training to become a drone operator. He wanted to get off of those front lines and make sure his family never went through anything like this. Live in Boulder, Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
A true servant of the community, and no one died after Officer Eric Talley confronted the gunman. Officer Talley's name will now be added to the National Police Memorial in Washington, D.C. in May. His name has already been added to the Boulder Police Memorial. He is the 7th officer in Boulder to be killed in the line of duty. Also, just yesterday, President Biden signed a bill officially renaming a Boulder post office in honor of Officer Eric Talley. Colorado Representative Joe Neguse introduced the bill last year, and every single Colorado representative sponsored it. You can find the Officer Eric H. Talley Post Office building at 15th and Walnut in Boulder.
The city of Boulder has several events planned today. At 2 p.m., the police department will have a line of duty death commemoration to remember Officer Talley. You can watch that in front of the Boulder Police Department or through a live stream. At 2:30, no matter where you are encouraged to observe a moment of silence. There will also be a community vigil at 4:30 at the bandshell. The Boulder Resource Center opened in the aftermath of the shooting to provide mental health resources to the community. Denver 7's Christian Lopez joins us now from the store on Table Mesa. And Christian, a year later, the needs have changed, but counselors are still busy trying to help people heal.
Yeah, Nicole, they are. They're still helping around 200 people a month. And this week, the center has seen an increase in people coming in, and they expect to see a lot more today on this painful milestone. And it really is a great resource for people for their healing process. They have massage therapy, yoga, they have comfort dogs that go in. It also features a beautiful art therapy room, and there are counselors ready to help. And because healing works in a complicated way when there's a traumatic event like this, the center saw some people come in for help right away. But for others, it could take a little longer. Someone who maybe didn't need help a year ago may be needing it now. And the center is there to support them and meet them where they are in the healing process.
One thing that's really important to mention for people is that any kind of feeling is normal. So some people might be feeling numb, they might be feeling angry, they might be feeling scared, they might be feeling sad. All of those feelings are normal and valid. And that's why our counselors are here as well, just to support people where they are.
It really is a wonderful resource for people in the community. The center is located on Baseline Road, and it's open 6 days a week. You don't need an appointment, and they will be there today if you need it. We are live in Boulder this morning. I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Thank you, Christian. While the focus today, of course, is on the victims and the healing, we know some of you are wondering about the status of the suspect. Doctors believe he will soon likely be considered competent to stand trial. There's a new review hearing set for April 15th. Until then, a judge has ordered him to the state mental hospital in Pueblo. Boulder Strong was a phrase that came out of this tragedy, and the spirit is still alive a year later. Coming up in our next half hour, we're talking to community members about resilience and how two victims' legacies are living on. We'll also have a look at the Colorado Healing Fund, which is using millions of dollars in your donations to support victims, families, and the community.
Switching gears now, by the end of today, we could know who will be the next superintendent at Douglas County Public Schools. According to tonight's school board agenda, the board will consider a resolution offering the job to either of the two finalists. They are Aaron Kane or Danny Windsor. Whoever is hired will replace Corey Wise. The board's new majority fired him back in February. The board will also discuss its response to a judge's order requiring its majority to follow open meeting laws. A judge found the 4 new board members violated open meeting laws by having private one-on-one discussions about the former superintendent's future before they told him he could resign or be fired.
Well, Colorado still has a team in the college basketball postseason.
Yeah, we're putting all of our rooting behind
Go
the
Bears,
UNC
yes.
Bears right now. They are moving on in the college basketball invitational tournament. They beat UNC Asheville yesterday, 87-84. The Bears now face UNC Wilmington tomorrow night for the semifinals. Lisa.
It is going to be a pretty mild start to our day, but take a look at our snowfall totals potentially within the next 24 hours. Not that impressive. In fact, we're looking at a trace, very little accumulation expected, but we will see some wet conditions this afternoon. In the mountains, likely picking up another 1 to 3 inches by late tonight, early tomorrow. Then it clears out and we are in for some really pretty spring-like weather. How does 70s sound?
Oh,
Jason?
sounds great.
I'll show you when coming up.
We're fantastic. Right now we have a good drive out to the east side, even though we do have this spin out that's still being worked on I-70 right by Central Park. You see it's mostly off to the side, so traffic is really not delayed too much, but you will see that as a hazard. Again, eastbound I-70 getting out by Central Park, Havana, and Peoria.
Criticized for low prices that led to long lift lines, Vail Resorts seems to be trying to reverse course. How much more you'll pay for a ski pass next season?
Also, get ready to pay more to tame historic inflation. Financial regulators are preparing to get much more aggressive with their rates.